Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah al-Kareem. Alhamdulillah, and welcome back to another episode of Life's Adornments, where we're discussing child rearing, its beauties, its virtues, its benefits, as well as its ups and downs. And most importantly, how are we to return this affair back to the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. To help us with these matters, we have Sheikh Assim al-Hakeem, who is a teacher at Zad Academy and KIU, and an imam and a teacher for over 30 years. MashaAllah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
All right, today we want to talk about al-adl wa rahma, talk about justice and mercy with regards to how the parents treat the children. We know that children have responsibilities and there's an etiquette to how children should be with their parents, but how are parents to raise their children as the children are in a manner from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How are they to be with them with regards to their mercy, their balance, and their justice?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillahi wa alihi wa sahbih, wa man ihtada bihadyih wa istanna bi sunnatihi ila yawmiddini, amma ba'd. When we come to talk about justice, this is a very vast topic. And justice is what Allah Azza wa Jal has built and constructed this whole universe over. And al-adl is one of Allah's beautiful attributes. So Allah is fair and just in all of His actions. And Allah tells us to be fair whenever we speak or act, even if with or against our own enemies. So Allah Azza wa Jal orders us to be fair and just. Now, in order to be fair and just, this is not something that you take as a pill and boom, you're fair and just. It is something that you are born and raised with. It is a character that your parents have, your community has. People deal with it. And you find this in every aspect of life. And this is why Abdullah ibn Rawaha, may Allah be pleased with him, when he went to collect the kharaj or the jizya from the Jews, they wanted to bribe him so that he would reduce what he's taking from them.
Yes.
So he said, by Allah, you are the most hated people to my heart. I hate you for the sake of Allah, for killing the prophets and falsifying them and changing and altering the books and revelations of Allah. I hate you for that. Yet my hatred to you would never ever impact or affect being fair to you, because this is what Allah ordered us to be when treating and dealing with you. So the Jews said, by Allah, this is how the heavens and the earth were constructed, through justice, through the fear of Allah Azza wa Jal. So now it is extremely important to raise our children understanding, evaluating the beauty of justice. First of all, you have to be fair and just to your children. Hadith of al-Nu'man ibn Bashir ibn Sa'd. May Allah be pleased with him and with his father.
Amen.
When al-Bashir ibn Sa'd gave his son al-Nu'man a gift. One narration says it's a slave, and another narration said that it was a property, a piece of land. His mother was a wise woman, and she said, no, I will not accept this gift to my young child until you go and notify the Prophet ﷺ for approval. So the man went to the Prophet and said, O Prophet of Allah, I gave my child this gift, and his mother insisted that you testify and approve of it. So immediately the Prophet asked him a specific direct questions. Do you have other children than him? He said, yes. Question 2, have you given them all a similar gift like him? He said, no. Final question, do you like them to be equal to you in being dutiful, obedient, kind, and loving? So the man said, of course. So the Prophet said, alayhi salam, fear Allah and be just to your children. I do not testify on transgression and injustice. Ask someone else to testify. This shows us that when dealing with children, we have to be equal. In one of the narrations, a man was sitting at the Prophet ﷺ, and when his daughter came, young toddler, came in, he picked her up and placed her next to him. But when his young other toddler boy came in, he picked him up, he kissed him, and he placed him in his lap. So the Prophet said, you're unfair with them. This breaks the heart of the other offspring of yours. So the concept of fairness is extremely important. When you make a difference and you favor one over the other, and you make that apparent, this would cause enmity in the hearts of the others. So how about if we add this a level and you start to favor one in expenditure? A couple of days ago, a brother came for consultation, and I sat with him for an hour. He almost cried because of the favorism of his father towards his half-brothers. So he gave his half-brother all the wealth while he was alive, all the shops, and he mistreats his own other son, who's older, just because he divorced his mother years ago. So the new family, he is favoring them with everything. His other children from the first wife, he's neglecting totally. Not only that, he's cursing, he's hitting, he's abusing, and he's 65 years of age. So the man came to me and he says, what do I do? And I told him that he's your father. He's accountable on the day of judgment, and he may end up in hell. But you as a child, you have to fear Allah Azza wa Jal and be dutiful and respectful to him. He said, but he favors my brother way more than he does to us all. And I kept saying to him, Akhi, this is a test. People are tested in so many different ways. This is why we are on earth. There are people who are tested with colon cancer, chemotherapy, radiation, the whole 9 yards, and then they end up dying after suffering and pain. Maybe, maybe not. There are people who are tested with calamities and tribulations and bombs and fires, and there are people who are tested by living in countries where they are raped, murdered, and lynched. There are people who are tested with famine and drought. They travel miles and miles for half a glass of water while they see their own child, skin over bones, withering and dying in their hands. So everyone has a test. Would you like to replace any of these tests with yours? He said, no, by Allah, I'm okay. The point is, we have to teach our children how to be fair. So many countries of the banana countries or the third world countries, you find that the security forces usually mistreat the civilians. Why is that? If you check the system, you'll find that his superior is humiliating him and stepping on him. And that person's superior is doing the same. So they have to vent. They have to express their authority over someone, and only those civilians, the poor civilians, who would suffer big time. This is the result of injustice. And we can go on to show the importance of injustice or the dangers of the injustice on the community. Now this also can be reversed. So the son has to be taught to be fair and just to his parents, but with the mother having the upper hand. This is why the Prophet ﷺ, when a man came to him and said, "O Prophet of Allah, who's more worthy of my good companionship?" He said, "Your mother." He said, "Then what?" He said, "Your mother." He said, "Then what?" He said, "Your mother." Then the man said, "Then what?" Then your father. So is there any injustice in that? No. This is totally understood and logical, because the amount of effort, pain, and difficulty that your mother went through is nothing. Your father's effort, pain, and suffering compared to hers. So definitely she requires more attention and your good companionship, because she is the weakest link. Her husband may abuse her, may mistreat her, the children may not respect her or obey her, so it's your responsibility to pay a lot of attention in taking good care of her.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. We're going to pause for a short break and we're going to get back into this very crucial point. Viewers, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and welcome back to our second segment of Life's Adornments. And in this segment, we are discussing justice and mercy. This is a very crucial topic. Sheikh, I would like to get into something. I was discussing with a group of students one time. They were asking about the authenticity of the hadith, that paradise lies beneath the feet of your mother. And there's some criticism about this, the authenticity about this. So one girl, when she heard this, she got really excited. She was like, "Well, I'm happy to hear that this isn't as daif, as weak, or some say fabricated." She said that because I hate my mother. And I was like, wait, slow, slow down. Even, if there's some discrepancy in this particular thing, the sentiment still is true. Like, we still have to respect our parents. And I was like, I never met somebody that's excited, to hate their parents. And she said, she's been treated poorly and she left her when she was young and things of this nature. And we find many people that have gripes with their parents, and they carry this all throughout into adulthood. Just because a person may have a test, as you mentioned, with their parents, does this then give a person leadway or the right to then mistreat their parents?
This is problematic, but let us start from the beginning. Number one, the hadith, al-jannatu taht aqdami al-ummahat. Paradise is underneath the feet of mothers.
Yes.
This is not an authentic hadith. But the authentic hadith is that a man came to the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet asked him about whether his mother is alive or dead, and he said that she was alive. He said to him, "Ilzam qadamaha fa innal jannata thamma." Yani stick to her feet, for paradise is there. This is not literal, meaning not to make an anklet of yourself and drag yourself behind her feet because Jannah is there. It is metaphoric, meaning that the more you serve, honor, and be dutiful to your mom, then this would definitely be your gateway to Jannah. To have our children hate us, this is not logical, because this is something that each and every individual is born with. That is to respect and be dutiful to your parents. Unfortunately, when it comes to a degree, when we focus more on our rights rather than our own obligations, this is where we have a problem. Now, I have to admit, I've done a lot of counseling with kids that their parents abuse. And it's 100% the mistake of the parent.
Mm.
There's no way out. No matter how many times I try to find an excuse for the father or for the mother to the kid to relax and cool down a bit, it's a dead end.
Mm-hmm.
The father or the mother are the transgressors. This is your test from Allah. What are you going to do about it? You have two options. Deal with them as harsh and rude and bad as they do with you.
Mm-hmm.
And you guarantee your seat in hellfire. May Allah forbid.
Mm-hmm.
Or you have to live with what you have. So anticipate, expect, and consider that your parent is a test from Allah Azza wa Jal. So no matter what he does, just be a good, righteous son and let it go away and weather the storm. A brother came to me complaining that he's in his 40s and his father, whenever he randomly says anything, the easiest thing the father can do is slap him on the face in front of his wife and children.
Yes, salam.
And he would beat the heck out of him. And he says, what is this, Sheikh? I'm in my 40s. And this is how wallahi, he swears by God. And you can see tears in his eyes. Wallahi, I have not said a single disrespectful or bad word. But whenever I open my mouth, he just beats me up in front of my children. So just give me an excuse to cut him off. I don't want to see him.
Yeah.
I don't want to have anything with him. And I would say to him, Akhi, this is your gateway to Jannah. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, to one of his companions, your father is your gateway to Jannah. Keep this door or lose it. It's up to you. He says to the companion. So sometimes it is us who needs to be reared and brought up in an Islamic way. We are the ones who are forcing our children to disobey us, to be undutiful to us, to disrespect us. It's our fault. We're pushing them to hell when we force them to disobey us and to do things that anger Allah Azza wa Jal. So it's mutual. Yes, the great deal of respect and being dutiful is from the kids to their parents, but also the parents have to be fair and just. And this usually happens in households that do not have mercy. It is essential to have a family with mercy. Allah Azza wa Jal says in Surah Ar-Rum, and it's among His signs that He created from yourselves spouses where you find tranquility in them. And He created compassion and mercy. See, the word in this ayah, you don't see love, because love is a byproduct. And it's not love like the love in movies. So Romeo loves Juliet, good shot. One committed suicide and drank poison, the other one played her for a fool and did not do that. It's not the love in the movies. It's the compassion, it's the mercy, and it's the tranquility that you find in your spouse. This is what Islam values most. Love would come as a byproduct. Now, this mercy, if you don't have it in a house, which also has a subsidiary known as al-rifq, which is kindness. If you miss mercy and kindness in a house, you have a formula for disaster. Because when the children don't have mercy and kindness among themselves, Allah takes away the blessing from the family. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, that a household might be sinful. A family might be sinful. But because they're kind to one another and because they have mercy between one another, Allah would expand their families, bless their offspring, and increase their provision and wealth. Though they're not a practicing family. And so many times we see this in real life. We see it manifested among the siblings. They have so much love, so much connection, so much care. Though they're not bearded, they're not hijabi, but they have this in it. And this is a sign of Allah's love to them. The Prophet said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ إِذَا أَحَبَّ أَهْلَ بَيْتٍ أَدْخَلَ فِيهِمُ الرِّفْقِ. When Allah loves a household, Allah will introduce kindness to them. But in some houses, we find rivalry. We find hatred and enmity. We find jealousy and envy among the siblings. This means that Allah does not love this household. So, if we manage, if we are able to put all of this in our children and feed it to them, imagine how this child is going to grow up and radiate all this love, compassion, and mercy and kindness to the whole world. But if we fail to do this, then the child would grow up only to be selfish, caring for himself. Let the whole world drown. Who cares? All what matters is me. Then this would cascade also to his wife, his children, his work, his neighborhood, and this is not very healthy.
If you speak to many non-Muslims and many converts, rather, one of the most difficult issues they have is when they convert, that their parents don't accept their religion, the religion of Islam. And I remember vividly, there was a brother who accepted Islam, and he had a dispute with his mother. She would like hide his Quran and do things like this, or tear up his prayer rug. And he called her one day a stinking kafir. And it was a shock to my system to hear someone talking to their mother this way. So I said, Akhi, how can you talk to your mother in this way? And he said, well, I read in the Quran, you cannot befriend the kafirs. My mother's a kafir. So I said, 5 minutes ago, you were a disbeliever. So what if people dealt with you in this way, let alone your mother? So many times because of this dispute, people have this rift between their parents and they cut them off completely and they say they're disbelievers anyway. What do you have to say about this, Sheikh?
Well, this is a classic example of ignorance. So this brother is quoting one verse and neglecting hundreds. There are 2 verses of the Quran where Allah tells us that you have to be dutiful to your parents, even if they force you to associate others with Allah. Come on, read it again. If they force you, they strive to make you associate others with Allah, do not obey them, but be kind in companionship. What do you mean, Sheikh? If my mother does this to me, I'm going to cut her off. I'm not going to send her any messages. I'm just going to consider her dead. Nope, this is not permissible. Allah tells you, because they're non-Muslims and they're trying to make you associate others with Allah, be tolerant, be kind to, don't obey them in their kufr and in disbelief, but you must have good companionship with them. You have to be dutiful, you have to be obedient, you have to be a role model as a Muslim. So this brother you've just mentioned is definitely a full-fledged ignorant imbecile who allowed his feelings to overcome his beliefs and conviction. She did heinous things. Okay, that's normal. But this does not justify you reciprocating and doing something that is even far worse, evil to your parent.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. On this note, we're going to end our segment for today. Thank you, as always, for your immense knowledge and wisdom.
Barakallahu feek, jazakumullah khairan.
Ameen wa iyaka. Ghafrullah lak.
Ameen.
Thank you, viewers, for tuning in. We hope that you receive immense benefit from this program. And we always remind you to practice the things that you learned today and spread the good information that you receive with your family, with your friends, and your community at large. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.